Hey guys, Dave Morrison here, coming to you from the Hobo Dojo out here in Southern California. We got a storm coming in, so I'm not going to talk about the storm. I just had a couple things I wanted to talk to you about, and one of them is I wanted to thank you guys for a pretty good response to my series about feminism. And I noticed that it tailed off markedly on the last one in terms of viewers, so I've probably burned you out already. Um, I hope that you'll go back and watch part 5. It's about the consumerism and corporatism and the way that feminism actually feeds that. Actually, that those things are the kind of thing that the left is always telling us to beware of, um, has been fed exponentially by doubling the workforce, by putting two earners in every house virtually, and it almost is every house now. So it's been hugely successful as a way of driving more people to buy more stuff. And you know how I feel about consumerism. I'm a free market guy. I love all the great things we have. I just think that we should be living for things other than just more stuff. So um, I'd like you to watch that. If you have not watched it and looked at it and said, well, I don't see how feminism ties into any of this, doesn't make any sense, take a look. I'm building a case. I have 8 parts so far, and I'm building a case that I think will all tie together at the end. I know it's a little bit tedious to watch multiple videos about the same thing, but I think if you watch them, you'll understand that they're not really about the same thing. They're about the same movement, but there are different facets of what I believe this movement is doing that are negative. So it's eventually going to be 10 parts. And I have 8 parts done that I did when we were on Facebook. And so we've been moving them over. And some of you have said, hey, it's good to see you're healthy. Well, I made these things a year ago. Jason and I did. So I am healthy. I'm feeling great, but I was out on the desert and off the grid mostly for 2 weeks, so it was a way that we could walk these things out and so that I wouldn't be missed too much. That there'd be some content coming out on the channel. So I just wanted to put that out there and let you know that because it seems that you're getting a little burned out on it, I'm going to release part 6 tomorrow, and only because Jason reminded me that both he and I have lived through that. We've seen, well, you'll see what it's about. I'm not going to give it away, but that we've both seen the very real effect that I talk about in part 6. It's hard to keep track of all these things. Anyway, I hope you'll watch part 5 and part 6, and then I swear to you, for a little while, I won't talk about feminism. I'm going to let it rest for a little bit, and then we'll talk about some other things. And I don't have a lot to talk about right now. I mean, this I don't know, this election down down in Mississippi, where this poor woman was held to be a racist because she used the term. She said, "I'd go to a public hanging with him." She also said right before she said that, she says, "I'd I don't know, I'd fight a circular saw," I think is what she said, or I'd fight a circle saw for that guy. She was just using some Southern colloquialisms is all she was doing. I mean, anybody who's ever spent any time in the South understands that the South, storytelling is alive and well in the South, and everybody down there really loves a good, colorful colloquialism. And going to a public hanging has zero to do with lynching. I mean, come on. The lynchings were everything except public. They were done in the dead of night in a secret place. A public hanging was an execution after a trial. And in the olden days, in the Wild West, in the early years of our country, a public hanging was what was done. So to say that I would go to a public hanging says I would do even the hardest thing, which would be to go to watch somebody die for this person. I like him so well. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is the same. We're into that same kind of goofiness that we went through recently in Florida with where the Republican candidate said, we really don't need to be monkeying up the system with socialist ideas. And I made a list. I was going to make a video where I just used every possible use of monkey that I could think of. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a ladder monkey out here, and hey, but if you say it's racism, I'll go along with you because monkey see, monkey do. You know, who wants to throw a monkey wrench into the left-wing narrative? Not I. You know, I mean, it went on and on and on. It was so stupid. And then, of course, you know, these things pass in a couple of days, and I never get around to making the video in time to make the joke mean anything. But it's the same sort of thing. It's that same tremendous desperation that the left has to destroy everybody who runs against a black candidate, and to do it by calling them racist. And I'll tell you, there's two central things that really took me out of the left, and one of them was the whole victim ideation. I mean, seriously, that was that. But if we could then divide that victimization into two parts, and one of them would be the way that they have behaved around the advancement of women, and the way that they have behaved around the advancement of black people, to always deny that that the left didn't teach us how to respect women. We learned that on our own. Technology came along, which made women more welcome in the workplace. You know, desk jobs were more plentiful. Air conditioning was more doable. The birth control pill came along. There were a lot of societal things that just made that movement of more women into the marketplace sort of an organic thing. Nobody fought it. I mean, maybe we should have fought it a little bit more, because now we're not even reproducing at the replacement rate. Well, just above the replacement rate, but a lot of places in Europe are not reproducing their populations anymore. So, and I just think we have an awful lot of unhappy women, a lot of really growingly unhappy men, and a lot of children who really are very shy on parenting. So I was really against that when I was over on the left. I used to speak out against that all the time. And I was also very against the attitude about black people. And I thought, even if it were true that racism is everywhere, even if it were true, which I know it not to be true, but even if it were true, why would we want to tell a young black person that somewhere people are secretly guaranteeing his failure or her failure? And we've seen this hatred of white people develop among blacks, and it's driven by white and black left-wingers. They're the ones. If somebody kept telling me, and I believed them, people that I had been told all my life that I can trust and have my back on these things, if I was told over and over and over again that people secretly had caused every failure in my life, I would have become bitter long, long ago. Nobody ever told me that. I was lucky enough. If I have a white privilege, I had the privilege of not being lied to continually in order to capture my vote and in order to capture my loyalty. People told me from the get-go, hey man, if something's going wrong in your life, stop doing what you're doing. That's what people told me. If only I had listened. I didn't believe, even that I didn't believe. But if I had any really plausible reason to blame others, I'd still be blaming others for my problems now, because I did blame others for as long as I thought I could get away with that, until finally just people weren't buying my bullshit anymore and just said, you know, why don't you just stop blaming others and get your shit together, man? And gradually I sort of grew up. But I didn't have anybody sabotaging my thinking every step of the way that the left does with black people and does with women. There's a whole generation of women that has grown up believing that their mothers and grandmothers were somehow chained into the house. I'm seeing it come up on the threads. Oh, you want women barefoot and pregnant? Barefoot and pregnant? What do you mean by that? If a woman has 5 children, what is she? Pregnant 45 months of her marriage, which might be 30 years long. You know, how many months is that? I'm not good with math in my head on the spot. But really, nobody's pregnant most of the time. And what's this barefoot thing? Was your mom, every time your mom was pregnant, did somebody take her shoes away so that she couldn't what? So she couldn't run away or something like that? Get out of here. All of this is mythology. You know, most everybody I know when I was growing up, the dads were grudgingly going to work every day and the women were hanging out at home because they had children, and they loved those children, and they were being loved back in return by those children. And I know just a few women right now who are raising their kids. One particular woman that comes in very regularly to the coffee house where I do my writing, and we talk. We got to know each other pretty well, and she is really truly a wonderful, wonderful human being, and her kids are such great children. And she told me in sort of a hushed voice, well, you know, I stay home and I homeschool my kids. I know it's not very popular around here. It's kind of a yuppie neighborhood, you know. It's very suburban, but I would be certain that it leans probably 85% left wing among the younger couples, like this woman is. She feels she has to be ashamed that she and her husband have opted to have fewer things and for life to be a little bit more difficult, so that this mother, who is a gifted mother, can be mothering the children all day long and teaching them. I mean, they're very, very bright and quick-witted children, and they're not going to grow up with all kinds of useless information. They're going to grow up with the ability to learn and think that learning is fun, and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're important in the lives of their parents, and that this is viewed as some sort of terrible regression in human history if more mothers were actually raising the next generation of children. That this is seen as, oh no, we have Mexican help to do that. And soon we'll have a whole bunch of Guatemalan help. We already have a lot of Guatemalan help, trust me. But I mean, you drive through the streets of LA and you just see stroller after stroller, you know, baby carriage, pram, whatever you want to call it, whatever part of the world you're in, being pushed by domestics, little domestic women. I'm sure they're doing a wonderful job. They speak to those children in Spanish. And but because I'm a house painter, I have gotten to know those domestic workers personally, many, many of them over the years, because I'll go to houses separated by years, and the same domestic workers will be working there. And they remember me, and we talk a little bit. And I happen to know they have children too, and those children are now being raised by other people. So it's a daycare system that sort of procreates itself, that sort of duplicates itself. Because here's this woman that comes up from the lower parts of Los Angeles. She comes in on a bus, and she comes out into the higher end areas of Los Angeles in order to care for a woman's child while that woman is out there fighting it out in the boardroom. And her children now have to be cared for. But can she afford good care for her children? I think probably not. So probably her children are raising themselves largely. And we wonder why crime keeps coming out of these neighborhoods. Well, I think there's maybe some answers to this. So endlessly farming out the child care duties is not a great idea. So anyway, I don't want to get way off on I made this video to apologize for being way off into feminism, and here I am off into it again. I've been reading comments, so what can I say? Anyway, all is well with us. Jason and I figured out a way to, you know, as you probably know, he's in training for a new job. They've got a kid on the way, and he got offered another job. It's another blue-collar job, but one that'll have great benefits and great job security. He's training right now, and you know how smart that guy is. He is kicking butt in training. Although he told me he's the oldest guy in the training, he's also probably the best guy there, and they're lucky to have him. But we won't be able to have as much flexibility in making the proper videos that are properly produced. So Jason, as is his way, has figured out a way around it, and basically we used to have his studio upstairs, and we'd have the green screen set up down in the garage. Now we'll all be in the garage. It'll be an all garage situation. So you may hear a bit more rattling doors and a little bit more sounds of cars going by in future. But we'll do the best we can with it. We'll soon be doing that, but we're going to have to do it early Saturday morning because, you know, family man. It's going to be full-on family man anytime now. You might hear babies crying in the background, dogs barking. That's going to be part of the thing now. So anyway, but we're going to try the first of those this coming Saturday. I'm supposed to get up there around the crack of dawn, and we're going to get some work done. So soon there will be fully produced videos again, and you won't have to put up with me recycling old series from our Facebook days. But I'm going to finish that series. Don't you try to stop me. Because this is my magnum opus in 5-minute chunks. We've chosen an odd sort of place in which to make our statement, and it is in these short videos. Another thing I wanted to, so there's limitations to it, and I can't just get into every little thing I feel and think. Plus, I learn things as I go. I learn things from you. What I want to say a couple of things to you guys before I got off on a frickin' rant, for which I'm sorry. There's a couple things going on. A, you might have noticed that I'm pinning comments that I find to be particularly enlightening in the context of that video. And the comments, oftentimes it'll be something that I wish I'd have thought of, and somebody says it so eloquently. A lot of you people can really write and put your thoughts together, and I see that a lot of you are taking the time to do it, and I want to say I appreciate that. I appreciate that much more than just somebody going, who is this douchebag? He's an actor. Look at his hands. He ain't no painter. As if I have to have paint underneath my fingernails all the time to prove my cred. But anyway, I like hearing your mind's work as well. In addition, so I am pinning comments, and sometimes I'll pin something for the first few days, and then somebody comes up with something else, and I feel that first pinned comment did get some love. Maybe 50 people saw it or something like that. So I might pin something else. But it's all in the interest of us getting our ideas out there. I mean, Jason and I have the channel, but you guys are part of it too. So I hope that you will help us in any way possible to spread the word. Tell somebody else about it, and occasionally share things on your social networks or whatever. The other thing is, I discovered we have a thing on YouTube called YouTube Community, and I hadn't known about this before, but I figured it out, and it's a place where you can put pictures and you can put written things. So I've put up a couple. I think I've put 4 essays up over there, and one of them was about my recent medical issue. One of them was about Halloween, and one was a share written by a friend of mine named Zane Bardwick, who's a great thinker and an influence on me. He had written something, I think it was just the day after the recent election. And I wrote something about my recent trip to the desert. I'd just been back a couple of days. So those are longer form. They're really essays, and I'm a writer at heart. And so rambling like this is fine, but writing is what I really do. And so anyway, drop over there sometime. You just go to the page and click community, and you'll see those if you're at all interested in reading longer form essay type style stuff. I mean, these things might be 800-900 words, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. That would be tantamount to a couple pages in a paperback book. So they're not enormously long. But I'm going to continue posting things over there when the spirit moves me, and I write something that I think is that might interest you guys. So check that out. What else do I need to tell you? Not anything really right now. I hope you all had my shoulders are sagging because I'm tired. I hope you guys all had a great holiday, and I hope we can go into this holiday season with this clarity of mind and be thinking a lot about what our values actually are. I hope you, like I, am beginning to get tired of the endless pissing contest, and we'll spend more time drilling down on the actual values. Like, what really do I stand for, other than just the opposite of what some troll said? I don't want to be provoked into thought. I want to think for myself and avoid being provoked as much as I can, so that I can put things out clearly. And I hope you guys are feeling that same thing. I think a lot of us are feeling that way. But anyway, there will still be some rascally stuff going on here. There's no doubt about it. But I just wanted to thank you guys for everything and for all the support that came to me after I revealed that I'd had that problem with my brain. I went out to the desert and got a lot of rest for a couple of weeks. And the first couple of days I was out there, I did have a little trouble carrying on conversations. I would feel my brain was sticking on certain things. And I'm not sure that I was really having problems with remembering things or just being super self-conscious about it. And so that was causing me to overthink things, probably a combination of those things. But after 3 or 4 days out there and getting lots and lots of rest and getting lots of good, but not too exertion-filled exercise, I felt like $1,000,000. And so far, everything's good. I got a clean bill of health. I'm dealing with the issue of paying for that. I got a stack of bills already for everybody, from everybody involved at the hospital, and imaging people and the ambulance and all that stuff. But there's no need. I want to thank personally a couple of you who did send along a little bit of money. It's not necessary, and a couple of people recommended that we do a GoFundMe page. I'm not going to do a GoFundMe page. I don't want to do that. I raise money for other people twice a year, and my Christmas one will be starting up soon. We do a thing called Cows for Christmas, where we send dairy cows into the developing world, where that becomes sort of a little mini economy for people in a very small village where there's very little money and there's very little way to get good solid protein. And a dairy cow can give even the tough little gnarly cows that they have in those parts of the world, because they don't send the regular old Guernsey cows like we see in the fields over there. They don't send those into the wilds of Angola and places like that. They put the cows there that are adapted to that environment and can easily find forage and things like that. So, but even those cows, like an American Guernsey cow, might give something like 12 gallons a day of milk. Isn't that amazing? But over there, they'll get 7 or 8, and 7 or 8 gallons of milk for a family that is otherwise virtually starving. That's not just protein. That's a product that they can trade. They can also, what happens in those places is that little refrigeration houses spring up. If there's 1 or 2 or 3 of those cows that have been given by Heifer International, which is the charity that I work through, and that I help do their thing. And so these little economies develop. People start making cheese. People start refrigerating the milk so that they can then work out a trade with some people down the way. Then they mate the cows and they make more of them. And so what I'm saying is little economies happen, and these are real resources. And this is the kind of stuff that I think as conservatives that we're interested in, rather than just giving somebody a bag of grain. If you give them something that they're going to need to care for, the children are going to need to learn. They're going to need to wake up in the morning and take care of those cows and get the milk, and then make sure that it gets either refrigerated or traded or consumed right away. So this is good stuff. This is free market charity. So we do a little charity. It costs $500 per cow, unless they've gone up this year. We've placed some number in the 30s, 36 cows or something like that over the last 8 years that I've been doing this. I skipped it last year because we were building an orphanage. It's in Uganda, and so I skipped that and helped fundraise for that over the Christmas season. But we'll be chiming in. I'll be letting you guys know about it, and if you give a little if you want, but I'll keep you posted. It's a great thing. Anyway, I'm rambling on. I wish that you could ask me a question right now and I could answer, but I think everything's good. Everything's good. The stock market was up today, which is good, because I've taken a couple of hits. I have a small amount of money with a money manager, and he hasn't been like bragging about how well we're doing this year like he did the year before. So I mean, we had a real run, unexpected run of great market when Trump got into office, and now the real world is setting in, and we're getting some adjustments, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. We've had some real declines, but today I think it was up 600 points or something like that, so that's good. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, that you all had a lot of love and a lot of high caloric intake of food for Thanksgiving, and that you're easing on into the holiday season with style, and that nobody ran out there and got in any fist fights on Black Friday. It's all good. Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting this channel. We really do appreciate it. All right, I'm going to sign off here if I can figure out how to click out of this. Here we go.